My man, how you doing, James? It's good to see you, dude.
Let's do it, baby.
Starting tonight?
Yes, sir.
Right on. I'll be back there to protect you best I can.
I know you will.
All right. 10 seconds out of TV if that's what you want?
Yes.
Good. And then let's just make sure we're communicating. I don't want anything weird to happen without you knowing it first.
Okay.
What down it is, if we do an assist on the sideline and we're changing the down, I'm going right to you. I'm going right to Coach so that everybody knows what we're doing.
Let me know when we got TVs, too.
Like 10 seconds. Oh, when we're going to go?
Yeah,
you bet. Yep, absolutely. Hey, stay healthy.
Thank you. Yes,
good luck.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you. Thank you. Elite is something that we see every Sunday. These players are elite athletes, and I want to be an elite referee.
The importance of the NFL game in our society to America.
Wow! You have to be kidding me.
Maintaining the integrity of the game is critical.
Oh, he caught it off the ricochet!
The role of officiating is very important in that process.
Perfection's impossible, but excellence is not.
And there's a lot of effort that goes into that.
Stay high on the post routes and the backside routes. Read the routes.
They're human, and it's easy to go back with your TV or your slow motion and say, hey, this is a foul, this is a no catch. But in real time, in pressure situations, for them to make split-second decisions, to be accurate, is a special trait.
It was a big call in a huge moment.
You should get into officiating because you love the sport, you love to officiate. Crew on three. 1, 2, 3, crew.
They think we just show up on Sundays.
How we doing there, sir? Good to see you.
They don't realize how much time we put in to do the best we can do on the field.
Getting it right is the name of the game. All right, I love you. Oh, what was it? Yeah, buddy. All right, love you. Bye.
Sean, who was that?
My dad, Rich will never fail in the locker room before the game, he'll call. So just to wish me luck, a couple sayings that he says every time, and we end with I love you. So it's special. I can't start a game without hearing from Dad first. Then we turn the music on and we get to business.
The business of officiating, the professional pursuit of perfection. In the rough and tumble, low-scoring early days of the NFL, officiating was a far cry from what we see today. Undertrained and loosely supervised, the officials of yesteryear were town locals hired by the home team at up to $25 a game.
I've actually seen some of the old rule books from decades ago. They sort of look like little pamphlets they give you when you go to a Broadway show, a couple of pages long, and maybe the cast. Really quite comical to look at some of those old rule books, how short they were.
After playing their first 13 seasons under existing collegiate rules, the NFL established its own unique rule set, starting with the 1933 season. Often, the officials enforcing these rules on the field were also the sports writers assigned by local newspapers to cover the game.
On the field, of course, I had to concentrate on the game because you can't lose track of the game. If your concentration is there, you can commit all kind of blunders. And meanwhile, as I saw those things on the field, I kind of make mental notes that I could use in the story, which I would have to write subsequently. And one official who shall be nameless, he didn't know the rules, he couldn't move, he was an old man. But because of his clout as a sports writer, the league bent in those days to that kind of clout. And so in order to get rid of him, they asked all the sports writers to bow out. In our day, we didn't spend much time before or during the week working on the game.
A turning point occurred in 1938 when the league hired a supervisor of officials, Hugh Shorty Ray. Ray demanded officials be experts on the rule book, improved officiating techniques, streamlined the rules, and quickened the tempo of play. Often cited as pro football's unknown hero, Ray brought football to modern speed and is one of 2 NFL officiating personnel in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Hold on to your seats for this play, folks.
Ray's contributions helped the credibility and popularity of the league explode, but no growth comes without pain and adjustment. Officiating the technical rules game is one thing. Officiating the players of the time, an entirely different task.
And I went up to him. I said, you son of a bitch, I'll get you.
These men had come back from the service. They'd been in a war. This was a picnic after what they'd been through. And it was a real competitive, tough proposition.
You bite some things you might not normally bite. You grab some things you might not normally grab.
Jeez.
When games begin to get broadcast, The availability of the game began to broaden and expand, and as such, the accountability, not just of the players and coaches on the field, but of officiating, grew and evolved with the game.
Whether unintentional or not, if he strikes the quarterback in the head, it is a foul, and our people must call the foul.
No one was better suited to apply the tough love required to clean up the on-field product than former Marine Art McNally.
Always get the play right. Get the play right. I don't care what it is. I don't care what people say about you. Get the play right.
McNally boosted the game's integrity and introduced a modern evaluation and grading system for officials. He also oversaw an upcoming boom in technological innovation that would push football forward.
They used to shoot a gun at the end of halftime. At the end of the game, they used to shoot a gun. I mean, an official was reaching his pocket, pull out a gun, bang, halftime. Bang, end of the game. We don't have guns anymore.
In 1975, referees were first equipped with wireless microphones.
C2 for Dallas, clipping.
In 1986, the league implemented instant replay as an officiating aid. McNally helped to develop scouting, training, mechanics, and technology to elevate the craft of officiating and was enshrined in the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2022.
How we get excellence is when we attempt to pursue perfection at all times.
In 1991, the torch was passed to longtime veteran official Jerry Seaman, whose contributions of developing an officiating command center, introducing a formal conditioning program and physical exam, and reintroducing a streamlined version of instant replay in 1999 vaulted us into the modern era.
NFL officials, they're always on the job.
Another important aspect of change over the years, numbers and shape. When it comes to officials on the field, it's an ever-evolving question of how many, where, and why.
The evolution of the numbers of officials has really evolved with the change in the game. And you needed to have those officiating eyes on more players. You had to end up adding more officials. And so through the years, that's where you ended up evolving into 4, 5, 6, and up to the present number we have. Our current NFL officiating crew is 9 officials. There are 7 on the field, and then there are 2 officials up in the replay booth, the replay official and the replay assistant. Each of the 7 officials on the field have areas of responsibility. Those include individual players as well as multiple players within an area. In and around the pocket, you've got quite a few players that are in close proximity together. The umpire's often into that group, just helping to maintain order and maintain control. He ends up spotting the ball a lot, particularly when we get into the 2-minute situations where teams are in a hurry up. It's often that official that you'll see running down, getting the ball, spotting it, getting out of the way, because time is so critical in that part of the game. The down judge is one of the line of scrimmage officials, along with the line judge. Those 2 officials, they work each side of the line of scrimmage. They've obviously got responsibilities for all those pre-snap infractions, everything in and around the line of scrimmage, alignments, both the offensive and defensive side of the ball. And then once the ball is snapped, they now get much more involved with the passing game. The field judge, he's on the same side as the line judge. His counterpart on the other side of the field is the side judge. Those 2 officials in general are watching the widest receivers in the formation. And so whenever they're either blocking or in pass routes, those 2 officials are covering those widest receivers.
Did he catch it? Yes!
And the back judge very much functions for us kind of like a center fielder. He's in the middle. Starting at the snap, he either reads run or he reads pass. If it's a run, he's going to end up going to the side the run goes to, or if he's up the middle, he'll stay in the middle area. If he reads pass, they're working the passing game, responsible for staying deep. If we end up with very long plays, he's probably going to be the official that is going to be closest to the goal line to work that area.
And he throws deep, and he wants Dalton Schultz. Has him! Rock and roll! Touchdown, Houston!
The referee is the person in charge of the game. His number one job is to manage the entire game. He has both administrative as well as what we would call strategic or functional duties, because he is one of the 7 and he has certain areas of responsibility like blocking in the area of the pocket.
As the referee, my job is to prepare the crew for a game on Sunday, put together training material for the crew, be an expert and have an elite understanding of the rules and of the mechanics of not just the referee position, but of every position. Everybody's equal. Nobody plays a more or a less important role. I don't care if you're a referee or a different position. I don't care if you're a first year in the league or you're a 20-year in the league. When it comes to you doing your job and what's presented in front of you on the field, you've got to make that split-second decision. And we're going to rely on you, we're going to trust you, and we're going to respect the fact that you're going to do your job.
They can call whatever they see. The game is very dynamic, and so as the play evolves and things change, they also have to have the flexibility to move into other areas. Very often those areas overlap. That's why you sometimes maybe see 2 flags on a play, because at that particular moment, their areas of responsibilities may have overlapped and both of them may have seen the same action at the same time.
So there's a misconception about when we're huddled up and talking, and that may be that we look confused. We're really doing 2 things in those huddles. Number 1 is we're getting angles, meaning we're getting an opinion from various officials who might have seen things from a different angle, who saw what and where. The second thing we're discussing is how to enforce it. It's not just as simple as 10 yards. We're going to go 10 yards from different spots depending on the type of play it is.
The officials are huddling up. I wonder if it's a spotting issue.
We have a system called O2O system by which we have an earpiece and we can talk with each other. We're constantly talking. It's about formation, the clock, what players are in the game. Just can flip this on and it stays on. So if we have any kind of a penalty, any situation that we want to discuss, I want all 9 people to be hearing the conversation, so I'll just flip it on, have a free flow conversation with whoever I'm with, and if somebody hears something they don't like, their job is to come in and say something. One of the things not to confuse is the fact that there's 1 microphone on my right hand and 1 on my left hip, right? This one goes to the world and television, this one goes to just my crew. So you don't want to confuse those, and there have been times where they've been confused.
Holding 89. Let's find out whether Andy wants it or not.
I'm not sure if Brad knows his mic is on.
Yes.
This is like Enrico Palazzo.
This one is the stadium mic, so generally penalties or anything else I need to announce, flip it on, and that goes to the stadium, and then it's patched into television as well.
Hey, hey, hey!
I am the one mic'd, and for good or for bad, I'm the one that gets the blame. Just by definition, 50% of the people are always going to be upset with us. The other 50% are indifferent. It just comes with the role.
Personal foul. Number 34 of the receiving team. Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 57 of the kicking team. By rule, all those penalties all stand. Replay, 4th down.
Those guys do practice. They stand in front of the mirror or they stand in front of their wives and they practice their announcements.
5-yard penalty, replay, 3rd down.
They watch themselves. We give them videos of themselves making their announcements. So that's a skill, that's a trained art.
There was no foul on the play. It was not a hold. The defender was just overpowered.
The defender was overpowered so much it looked like a hold.
We're really not actively trying to create personalities out there. That being said, part of the job of the referee is to be an effective communicator.
Yes, there are penalties in the Pro Bowl. Pass interference. Defense number 24.
Every person has their own personality.
Intentional grounding. Offense number 7. It's a 10-yard penalty. I'm talking to America here, excuse me. It's a 10-yard penalty and a loss of down. I mean, 2nd down.
That is the best line I've ever heard out of an official. He just told Geno Smith, I'm talking to America.
We never want to come across as dry and impersonal from that standpoint. But again, we're not trying to be flamboyant either.
After he tackled the quarterback, he's giving them business down there. That's a 15-yard penalty.
I'm a type A personality. I enjoy the role. I enjoy that the buck stops with me.
There were 4 fouls by the receiving team on the play.
I'm just reporting the news, but it's my job in part to help educate a lady or a man on her couch that don't necessarily have an understanding of the NFL rules and help demystify what it is that we do. So I try to speak to that person when explaining a ruling that we're doing, and I think that it also helps the announcers and sends them in the right direction as well.
It's 1st down.
How on earth did Sean Hockley remember all of that?
With the goal of having 9 officials work as one cohesive unit, the foundation, the building of the crew, is critical.
We have 17 crews. Those are assigned by the league. We spend a lot of time in terms of crew development, and they travel week to week together, all 9 of them.
I really don't like to say team. Team is cool, but I think we're more of a family because of the time that we spend together.
With the family, there's different personalities. We've got a league psychologist who helps the referees. We all take a test, personality test, and we all know our own results. And so I know all of my 9 officials, including myself, personality and their quirks.
When you have new officials come in, just like a club would do with new players, you have to work at trying to find the best fit. When we find chemistry that works amongst people, we try to preserve that and keep that as stable as we can from year to year.
An officiating crew's job site is ever-changing, waiting for the call of where next week's game assignment will be.
We assign those each week. There's a certain degree of randomness to it. With 17 crews and 32 clubs, one of the things that we do try to have is a long spread between when any individual crew might end up having the same team.
Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Doing well? A little bit chillier than last time.
That's right, yeah.
We just would not assign a crew to work back-to-back games for any club.
Cincinnati, you're back to this scoring, please.
In the weeks when all of the clubs are playing, there's 16 games. So we will always have one crew that's on reserve because an official might get sick, or an official may have sustained an injury the previous week. If we know in advance, our first draw would be from that reserve crew. Once we get into the weeks where clubs are having bye weeks, then we end up with multiple crews being off. We use those officials to fill in as needed. If we end up with a vacancy on game day, we end up having to usually go to 6 officials. Each crew has some flexibility to adjust their positioning to see how to best cover 7 with 6.
The average fan, the complexity of the rule book, I think, is probably the biggest surprise.
Once Johnson's right foot steps out of bounds, he's out of bounds. And anytime an out-of-bounds player touches a loose ball, that makes the ball dead. It goes back to the original team that had possession.
We have to study. You might not see a certain play, but one time in your whole career, but you gotta be ready for it.
We get questions from clubs all the time. Hey, when this situation happens, what's the rule? A lot of them, or you've had that question so many times, you just kind of recite it. Rule 12.1.4, there's the rule, and here's exactly how it's worded.
The ball came loose in the player's possession before his hit hit the ground. The ball then rolled through the end zone. It is a touchback.
As a coach, I always thought our officials flew in on Saturday night, had a great steak dinner, came in on Sunday, officiated the game and went back home on Monday and played golf. Totally furthest from the truth. The work that they do during the course of the week. They know teams as well as our coaches do. They know players as well as our coaches do. I think the biggest thing that surprised me is the dedication and the time our men spend with the work of officiating.
It's a never-ending rule study process. There are so many things that could happen on a football field. We have what's called a case book. A case book is a collection of play examples that have either happened or are hypothetical plays that could happen. There are 1,193 play examples in the case book. The reason I know there's 1,193 play examples is because I've read them over and over and over. We have a rule book, a case book, a hopper book, which helps us get to the enforcement decisions. We have a mechanics manual and a referee manual, and these are just the written materials. There could be a punt, and there is a foul by the receiving team during the punt. Well, if that foul happened during the kick, we're going to enforce the foul from one spot. If it happened during the return, it's going to be another. If it happened during a fumble that happened during that return, it's potentially another spot. If the other team also fouled during the play, we're going to go to another spot. If the other team's foul is a 15-yard foul versus a 5-yard foul, we're going to do another thing. It's like in mathematics, permutations and combinations, an infinite amount of possibilities. The dog could ultimately run on the field and bite the football, and we've got to deal with that as well.
There's a pigeon on the field.
This squirrel's been wreaking havoc all day.
Perfect form, extension.
I mean, look at his change of direction.
He's got great lateral movement.
Oh, my goodness.
You constantly see things that you've never seen before.
I said no rain in the forecast. I didn't check the sprinklers.
So you simply need to do your best to manage that situation, make a decision, and go.
Unsportsmanlike conduct on the defense for disconcerting signals as they called out a signal similar to the defense cadence. 15 yards will be measured half the distance to the goal. Automatic. First down.
You don't see that one very often.
There are obscure rules in the NFL, things that I've never seen. Interlocking interference. A player cannot lock arms with another teammate to block.
People think that the team that scores a touchdown
Nope, that's a touchdown.
just automatically ends up kicking off. But I remember learning 50 years ago, it's actually the team that scored against will determine who kicks off.
Really? You know what? I just learned something.
Now, very rarely is that team going to say, you know, you just scored against me. I think I'm going to go ahead and kick off to you and watch you score against me again.
Hello? You play to win the game.
I did one time go ask the coach, I said, it's your choice, coach. Who do you want to kick off? And he just looked at me, and I already knew that he had no clue what I was saying. But it's one of those nuances that you like to kind of recite.
Hey, you better stop trying that.
There's 36 hand signals in the NFL rulebook, and I'm certain I have not used all of them. But I have to know each one. If you ever forget a signal, which is a cardinal sin of a referee, by the way, your go-to is this, because this is pretty much the signal for any foul that there is.
Flag!
The color of the flag is yellow. It's yellow really because it's easily visible. It's easy to see on TV. It didn't used to always be yellow. I mean, the flag has been different colors at different times, you know, red or white. Most of them just carry one. In the older days, there were a few people that used to carry two, but you know, with so much gear that we now have to carry with microphones and headsets and battery packs and those kinds of things, it's like one is usually sufficient. But if they needed to call two penalties, they would just simply find something else to throw. Some of them you might see they may throw their hat, but it's not necessary if you wanted to just tell the referee that, hey, I've got two fouls where my flag is, and then the other one was, say, out of bounds. They can just communicate that.
Gene Steratore,
Ball start. Offense, everyone but the center.
There you go.
5-yard penalty, first down.
That's why he was chuckling.
So you all know, after you make a call, ref, are you blind? Free eye exams for ref. And it turns out that acuity has nothing to do with it. First is maintaining line of sight. Number two is visual field. If you move, it will degrade your acuity.
Unlike the clubs, our officials are scattered across the country. We brought all of the game officials together on the Friday before week one.
If he's right here in front of me, and I block him that way, we're good. One's a foul, one's not. Everybody good with the difference?
We want to develop a culture of clarity, consistency, and credibility.
That is a constant conversation we have with coaches and players, is they want and deserve consistency when Sean Hockley's crew shows up on Sunday versus Brad Allen's crew on Sunday.
But when you get these linemen coming down on these type of situations up the middle, we have to be 100% accurate. These are the little things that we can't miss.
Trying to get all the officials on the same page.
By rule, they can have control of the ball, firm control of the ball with the arms, without it really even being on the hands.
With foul recognition, communication with coaches, and then to kick off the regular season together as an entire officiating department.
I promise this is the only nerd part you need to know. Saccade, which is a fast movement. Pursuit, which is a smooth, slow movement. And the vestibular ocular reflex, that hooks up your ear, but not the hearing part of your ear, the balance part of your ear to your eye.
We have our 10-year program, which means that our officials that have been for 10 years, they receive their 10-year ring.
So this is the class of 2014. We've got bling for you.
And also our Super Bowl officials.
Congratulations.
They received plaques, game balls, and also their Super Bowl ring. Those guys work extremely hard to get that opportunity, just like our players work extremely hard to get a Super Bowl. And that's why they're rewarded with rings as well.
We all know the task that's ahead of us. We all know how difficult it is, how long it is, the commitment, the dedication. You're all up to the challenge. Just go out and do what you do. Just have a great year. Thank you.
For NFL officials, having a great year is primarily defined by a series of successful weekend business trips.
Saturday comes, take the first flight out of my home airport. We'll get into the host city and we'll have our meeting. One of us is gonna hold it up. TK puts the iron cross out. He stands over, he waits for me. I'm gonna look over on this sideline. I'll give it a 3 count in my head. I'll tell TK get off the ball. He gets off the ball.
Our referees do a great job preparing us.
Someone give me some possibilities on here. Let's just do some what ifs. It's rolling around the end zone. What's he gonna do? Kick it out. He kicks it or bats it out. What's our enforcement?
10 yards and first down.
Right. Previous spot, lost it down. Nice. Let's say he throws it. Now, what issues do we have? IDP.
Yep.
We can't have DPI in a punt formation against the whitest guys.
We go about 3 hours for our pregame. We have old business, we have new business, and we're all involved.
I felt that with the dude wrapped around him, he wasn't able to protect himself.
Because he's wrapped here by another player, he's defenseless all the way to the ground, can't hit him in the head. Rich throws the foul, great call.
42 comes up to me and he's like, what am I supposed to do? I said, I get you trying to create that hit to knock the ball out, but he was on the ground. I said, so that's on you, you gotta go over.
He makes learning the rules fun, and that keeps your attention.
Failure to make the line to gain on 4th down is a what? The ball is snapped on the left hash. The ICT occurs on the right side of the field. Quarterback runs beyond the line of scrimmage and gains 5 yards. Which hash will we next snap? The rookie is running the table right now. The wide receiver runs with the ball, fumbles, and the defense recovers. The defense commits ICT. What hopper are we in? What is the name of TK's grandson? You're going to Chuck E. Cheese? No say. Sunday morning, we'll have breakfast as a crew. We'll go to the game site 3 hours early. At the game site, we've all got responsibilities and duties for those first 2.5 hours. We do a security meeting where it's local law enforcement, event staff, the FBI, Homeland Security. There's a production meeting where we meet with the television truck, the producer. We talk about the number of timeouts, how long they're gonna be in length, how we're gonna communicate. We have a meeting with the doctors from each team and the training staff from each team about how we're gonna deal with player injuries.
Game balls and kicking balls. We have to make sure that the pounds per square inch are up to league standards. We got a lot of things that we need to take care of that a lot of people don't know about, that 2 hours and 10 minutes go by real quick.
This is, in my opinion, the most important tool that I use personally. This is just a little recorder. I keep it in my pocket during the game, and there'll be, 40 to 60 plays a game that I want to make notes of. And the biggest thing I use it for as well is the communication items between the crew. First thing I'll do when I get on the airplane is put my headphones in, plug this in, and then transcribe all the notes. So they end up making it into my meeting, and they end up, giving credit where credit is due, or, teaching guys about, hey, we should do this a little differently. We go on the field at 50 minutes prior, and that's when the teams are out to warm up. And that's our opportunity to warm up. And I have several jobs out there. Very good, I see a quarterback, thank you. Check the replay booth. Make sure that the replay system is working well. Check of the stadium microphone. What's your name? Jacob. Jacob, listen, okay, listen. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, Jacob, Jacob. Check, referee mic check, Jacob. Get it? No booing the refs, okay? Talk with the coaches one final time, see if they have any concerns that they want to talk about. How you doing, Dennis? Great to see you. How you feeling?
Outstanding.
We healthy?
Yeah, doing great.
And then I'll talk with the quarterbacks. Does this mean I'm getting snaps tonight?
Yeah,
Am I getting snaps
you
tonight?
want my jersey?
Hey, I'm just saying. I told Coach.
I'm telling you, I don't want your job.
I got eligibility left, brother. I got eligibility left. Let's go. When the teams come back in the locker room, we do as well. And that's our final opportunity to come together as a family, as a crew, and say one final motivational item. Hey, we're gonna do this together, we're gonna get it right, we're gonna give the teams the quality of officiating that they deserve. Like always, we save each other, we defend each other, we protect each other, we fit for it. We focus on every play like it's the only play in the game. Crew on 3. 1, 2, 3, crew!
All right.
Great. Love you. All right, good luck, guys.
National anthem, I stop and take a pause and take in that moment, because it's huge. And I think about how lucky I am to be where I am at that moment. Once that national anthem is through, that's when it clicks in. I take down the results of the coin toss. I go to my spot for the kickoff. I do my thing like this, because I'm signaling I love my crew, I love my kids, and I'm ready to work. Focus. Focus is the most important thing. And I remember something that my dad told me before my first Division I football game: focus on every play like it's the only play in the game. If the game was truly one play long, how much would you concentrate? How much would you focus? I would think that it would be an unbelievable amount. And then we duplicate that 160 or 170 times. When you leave the field, you are emotionally drained.
you're exhausted. It's because of the level of concentration that it takes, because these players are so good and so fast. Hopefully you feel like you left it all out there and you gave the teams a good, fair product, but you're drained.
Previous play is under review.
There you go.
The replay official and the replay assistant in the booth are allowed to help on a select and very specific list of game items. If we've got a toe tap at the sideline and the question is whether the receiver got his feet in or out, and either the coach has challenged it or it's a booth review, he's going to look at all of the angles that he has at his disposal to get us to the right answer.
The two in-stadium replay officials aren't the only ones with their eyes on the angles. Back at the NFL headquarters, a team of specialists are on site, monitoring, assisting, and working tirelessly to ensure the integrity of the game.
So when you hear the announcers, the play-by-play announcers talk about New York is reviewing the play, this is a team that gets it done.
9 1 o'clock games, 4 o'clock games, and then the Sunday night game. And so our time is all spent on game day and AMGC and instant replay, reviewing all the games.
In March of 1986, the NFL adopted a one-year system of limited instant replay of officiating calls. The replay official will watch replay or replays on one or both monitors and complete his review within a reasonable period of time.
Years before we had replay, if there was a critical error, everybody sort of had to live with it, and nobody liked having to live with it.
The officials did not have the luxury that we enjoy of seeing that instant replay.
What the Hawkeye system allows us to do, we have the availability to see every angle that the network uses in real time. Previously, we would have to wait to look at whatever view the network was showing until the network got to a replay and showed that. We did not have the ability to see that. We now have the ability to see every angle in real time. So very often, we already know because we've got the shots before the network even shows it to America. It's really helped the flow of the game, less interruptions.
Equipment checks this year are quarter breaks only. Not the 2-minute warning, not the second TV timeout.
We have anywhere from 29 to 32 people in AMGC in the 1 o'clock hour on game day, technicians who man the stations, supervisors. We have decision makers, observers, and then we have a stenographer taking note of all the foul recognitions and pertinent plays that come up during the ball game.
Ruling on the field is a touchdown.
Multiple stations, each station assigned to an individual game. We're in direct real-time communication with the replay officials at the stadium. We're in direct communication with the 7 officials that are at the game. It's very much like a redundant system.
So our overriding goal is to get it right at all costs. We take so much pride in what we do. I want to be right on the field. I don't want replay or technology to have to correct me. But if in the name of getting it right, we need to use replay or technology to do it, absolutely. Anything that keeps us off SportsCenter, anything that keeps us from having affected the outcome of the game is welcome.
Denver is challenging the ruling on the field of an incomplete pass.
The first thing that starts the process is what's the ruling on the field. That's where we start every play. If a coach wants to challenge, then he would throw his challenge flag.
That's beautiful.
Shaq would have been proud of that dunk.
The referee is going to go over to the coach and ask him what is he challenging, and so the referee would then end up making that announcement. Sometimes TV will go out for a commercial break. Sometimes they won't. That's up to them. The referee now is coming over to the surface tablet. We're already in the process of looking for the different angles to either confirm that, hey, the ruling on the field was correct, and here's the shots, here's the angles we're going to end up showing the referee on that. Or we may already see that the ruling on the field may have been incorrect. He'll then confirm that. Let's say I'm the decision maker for that particular play. I'll tell the referee, yes, we're in agreement, we're going to reverse this call. And then replay officials already getting all the administrative because we've got to now reset the clock. We got to go back, what was the previous spot? What down was it? It was second down. It's not going to be first. It's not going to be third. And we're doing all of that within the 2 minutes of the commercial break so that hopefully when America comes back out of the commercial break, the decision's been made, we've got things ready to go, and we're ready to play football again.
The ruling on the field stands. Third down.
Every time an official does this, he makes somebody mad.
Oh, look, no. No. I get this every week. I mean, come on, fellas. What?
Unbelievable.
You're not on it.
Some people innovate, some people copy ya. I'd rather win losing friends than be popular. Popular. I'd rather win losing friends than be popular. Popular. I'd rather win losing friends than be popular.
As a former coach, I can relate to coaches. We've really opened up the pipeline of communication, and we've also tried to educate our officials on how to talk to coaches in heated situations, in stressful situations. That's not easy. On the coaching side, it's win or lose, and on the officiating side, we just want to provide equity.
Oh, don't yell at me, okay? I can't promise you that. I know, but don't yell. Hey, don't yell.
Everybody's livelihood is at stake when we step out on that football field. And I can't stress enough how much we respect that. Our livelihood is also at stake.
You missed the hold!
You got Edelman pushing off a lot. At the top of route.
We understand that coaches are gonna vent. They're gonna get frustrated.
Hey, no, you're not gonna call that on him, are you? No! Hey! That was out of it! No!
Ours are not holding on that play.
One of my jobs is to communicate with the coaches as often as he wants me to communicate with them. He may not like the answer. And at the end of the day, if it gets to the point where I feel it's gone too far, I can turn around and walk away.
Watch it, fellas! Knock it off! Knock it off! Knock it off! Let's play ball, okay? Let's play ball.
My biggest thing is game management. Tensions get high.
Go to the huddle. That's how you want to play? Go to the huddle. It's over. That's how you want to play? Go. Yeah, all right.
And you have a lot of talking and you have a lot of pushing and shoving.
We're getting a little rowdy, gentlemen. Let's keep it clean.
What I try to do is just let them know, like, you're wasting time, play clock is running, but a lot of times they don't want to hear that.
I need you to walk your way. I need you to walk.
I'll look at that particular person, and if he has that look in his face where he doesn't want to be approached, I'll go to one of his teammates, and I'll have one of his teammates kind of get him to calm down and tell him, like, you're gonna hurt your team if you continue on the path that you're going on. Sometimes that's the biggest challenge for me, is just getting through to some of the guys to just relax and play football.
Cool down, little dude. Ref told me to cool down. It ain't my fault. Hey, Ref, you okay? Oh, I thought you wanted some Skittles. You want some Skittles? Okay.
Don't argue with refs in Duval. We let the refs call the game and we play it.
I say to the players all the time, you know, we want to establish a partnership with them, and we want them to know that we're not just showing up on Sundays to ruin their life.
Phil, the clock had not reset. I know, but you beat us. You should let us get back in the huddle. I put you on the line. That's the best I can do. Put you on the line and make sure it doesn't run out. That ain't right. The bad thing is I should have called timeout, but we didn't think of it. Okay. You should have told me, Phil, you want a timeout. Yeah, okay. And then they would accuse me of coaching, all right?
They have the toughest job in the world, and they don't throw people out or penalize coaches. I can't believe it.
He's holding him! That's the third pass interference we've got. 3. That's enough now, okay?
It's awesome. They like getting yelled at. They love it.
We don't want to throw penalty flags. We certainly don't want to have to penalize a player or a coach for a behavior issue directed toward us. Understand perspective. In some way, I consider this person my coworker, and we're going to be working together for the next 3 hours and hopefully the next 30 years. So we want to build this relationship in a respectful manner.
Good job. 3-2. You did a good job today, man. Yeah, good communication with me. I appreciate it.
It's my job as the referee to be a calming influence, to be a level-headed influence, and to not let those conversations get to a point where they're too heated.
Hey, boss. What was the penalty? Holding 99 defense. Oh!
Oftentimes, players just want to know why you called something. They want to know what they're doing with their technique that isn't proper, how they can fix it.
Like the contact happened, I look back, he's catching the ball. Does that make sense? So we're safe there. My point is, to keep me out of it, make sure you're advancing upfield, running a route. Because if I see you seeking the guy out, that's suspect, okay?
And also, a lot of times, it's just jovial conversation.
You gonna try to schmooze him? Schmooze him a little bit? That was a great job. Great job. I like you. You've been making some good calls tonight.
They're good guys, they're fun guys out there playing a game. Fans are wonderful. Without fans, there wouldn't be a game, I wouldn't have a job. There's precisely 0 of those fans that tune in to watch me. I Try to stay off social media. Part of this job is the ability to not read press clippings, not read the comments section about yourself. Part of officiating at this level, which is interesting to think about, is if somebody came to your work and videotaped you during your job throughout the whole day, and then watched it back in slow motion while a million people critiqued what you did during that work day, how would that make you feel? That's kind of the microscope that we feel that we're under. I understand it. People are fans for a reason. They're fanatical about their teams. It's part of my job. I'm a big boy. Get it?
You hear that, boo?
I have a routine that I do, and before the season starts, I'll order 20 of my white referee hats. And in the 50-minute walk around, I'll find a kid in the stands and give him my white hat.
Can you take care of that for me?
Thank you so much.
A lot of the crew members will walk around, they'll hand out a penalty flag, or they'll just meet somebody and say hello. It's a job that I think is unique from the standpoint of you don't always meet or even notice the officials. So, if we can let them understand or help them understand that we're people too, every little bit helps. Every little bit of goodwill in this job will take.
While the action takes place on game day, the work of the NFL officiating department doesn't end when the final whistle blows. During the season, each and every day of the week is critical.
There's just a lot we have to do on that never-ending quest at perfection.
So when the game ends, we immediately go to the airport, we get on the airplane. We've left the locker room with a TV copy of the game, which I'll watch on the airplane ride home. Come Monday morning, we now have the coaches' cuts, the high end zone, the high 50, the all 29, 22 players, and 7 officials in view. I'll watch all of those angles.
Monday morning, I meet with Commissioner Goodell and Executive Vice President Troy Vincent to review pertinent plays of the game. And then the calls with the GMs and head coaches from Sunday's games. Most of it is the safety of the game. They want the quality of play to be elevated. Then after that, coaches sent in 10 questions or concerns that they had about their contest for me to review. Does this rise to the level of a foul? Why wasn't this called? Why did the clock stop here?
We review every play of every game from all 7 positions on the field and from the 2 officials up in the replay booth. There are cameras everywhere. And as such, the actions of players, coaches, and officials are just up for review on every single play from almost every single imaginable angle.
I don't think there's a play that probably slips by out of the 1,100 plays that are played on a football weekend.
All 17 games have to be graded. Every positional official has to be graded. The grades are important because it provides equity to our league in terms of making sure our officials are accountable. Their highest graders are the ones that get the playoff games, get the Super Bowl games, very similar to our players. If you play well enough, you have a chance to be a Pro Bowl or an All-Pro. If you play really well as a group, you have a chance to be in the Super Bowl, and that's what you want in terms of being the best you can be.
On Tuesday, our evaluations from our supervisors come out. That's the big day. Right, that's your boss signing off on whether you did a good job or not. Tuesday night, we have a conference call with several of the other referees where we share plays. We're under so much pressure and criticism at this level that we owe it to ourselves to collaborate in the name of improving the product as a whole. Wednesday, I'm dealing with scouting the upcoming teams.
For me, I try to break down film as far as matchups. I also talk to other officials in my position. They had that team the prior week. I want to get that information as well.
And beginning the process of putting our meeting together, which is something that we're going to have on Saturday. We have a crew conference call on Wednesday nights where we discuss some of the plays from the week.
We develop video content on fouls, no calls, missed calls, so that we can be transparent with the clubs of how we can improve officiating and improve our game, as well as producing a video called Way to Play. We're trying to provide examples for clubs of the way to play. How you sack a quarterback. Aaron Donald is the poster child for how to sack a quarterback and not put his body weight on the quarterback.
Aaron Donald is inevitable!
If we can share these examples with all 32 clubs, then we can reduce fouls. We're very transparent for rules of the game, way to play the game, and then helping our partners deliver that message to the general public.
Thursday will be a continuation of watching those plays that I've received from the other referees. Meanwhile, the league is sending out things like a weekly test. There's training videos. I have a referee training video. We have a league-wide training video. I will also watch all of the other position videos, from the line of scrimmage to the deeps to the replay official to the umpire and the referee. So there's a lot of video work.
And then it's Thursday night football.
Patrick Mahomes will be in the spotlight tonight on Thursday Night Football.
Friday is clubs send in concerns about the upcoming opponent. That's video review of those concerns, sharing that with our officials.
A foul before that change and a B foul after gives me a double width. And rule study. Can't forget about rule study. If you put that book down, the next Sunday something's going to happen that you've never seen before. And if you're not ready for it, you're going to miss it.
They think we just show up on Sundays. They don't realize how much time we put in to try to do the best we can do on the field.
Saturday is college football.
It gives us opportunity to watch all the college football games and our young college officials that we're trying to bring through the program.
Room to run down the sideline, shoved out of bounds inside the 30.
And then we start the week again on Sunday.
Cheese Kingdom!
Once a Super Bowl champion is crowned, the NFL officiating department transitions to important off-season tasks, including rule changes for the upcoming season.
When I first started out coaching college football, you knew the rules or you thought you understood the rules, but I found out we really didn't.
Hey, man, how you doing?
Oh, wait a minute, that's not a rule.
Oh, yes, it is, Bill. That's a rule.
The guy
promise you it's a rule. What do you call it? On us? That's impossible.
Big official. Doggone over officiating.
As I grew in the coaching profession, I knew that if you understand the rules of the game, you can use the rules to your advantage.
Our quarterback got clubbed in the face and the neck right there. I mean, he's going to live, but that is a penalty.
Tom Coughlin was a rules expert. I learned that rules were so important to Tom that I made it important to me. I started learning the rules of the game. I started engaging with officials. If I was going to have a chance to win a championship, I'd better know the rules of the game. Now, fast forward, clubs have gone more to rules experts, hiring a person that could be a rules liaison so that they can help coaches with their rules knowledge.
We see every year there's something that, you look at and you say, wow, I've never seen that before. That's really creative. I bet there's going to be a memo about that, or I bet there's going to be a discussion about whether that should be legal the following year.
They sneak, they push, and they score!
And these coaches, special teams coaches, offense, defensive head coaches are brilliant. They are going to do what they should do and push the envelope, and we have to make a decision about whether something's a foul or not. We'll oftentimes see situations arise where a coach has come up with a very creative way to have a formation or run a certain type of play. I keep a running list of things that I see throughout a season that are potential inequities or things that should at least be discussed.
Once we get into the off-season, recommendations for rules come from a lot of different sources. Clubs will often make recommendations on rule changes. Officials often make recommendations on rule changes. The NFL has a competition committee, which is made up of owners, general managers, and head coaches. And the specific task of the competition committee is to review any and all recommended rules changes, and then the competition committee then makes any recommendations at the spring meeting that the league has.
The point of emphasis this year surrounds taunting.
The most important aspect is player safety. As the speed of players, as the size of players have increased, we're constantly looking at the evolution of rules, techniques, equipment to make the game as safe as possible.
We've got a new kickoff play. They're calling it the NFL Hybrid Kickoff.
Analytics gets very involved in that, competitiveness, excitement, scoring as an example. All those factors come into play in terms of how rules are evolved and developed.
In addition to the rule books, officials also spend time in the off-season fine-tuning themselves.
The off-season is where you really spend 5 months getting ready for the next season. There's a regimen that they go through relative to physicals and fitness requirements.
I didn't go to the ground. He didn't knock me down. Eugene can run, and he's big, and he's fast. I showed the team this morning because, I knew they were going to laugh at me anyway, so I figured I might as well show them first.
You're constantly working out, trying to stay in shape. Officials get older every year. Players pretty much stay the same age. We got to keep up with these guys some way, shape, or form. When we get a fumble, I might sprint about 40 yards just to get in that pile, and I might be knocking over other officials to get there to try to get to that ball.
It's a long day. We don't substitute officials in and out. You've got to have the physical stamina, not just to maintain yourself for the 3+ hours out there.
Damn.
But if you're not physically fit, it takes a mental drain, particularly toward the end of the game, which very often is the most critical part of the game for us.
We'll have a mini clinic in May or June, and then we have an all-officials clinic in July. It's, hey, here are the new rules. Here are things that are changing this year. Here are where we want to tweak things. The competition committee wants the volume up or volume down on these certain fouls. These are the new mechanics, just general training.
Both players and officials are eager to learn. Anytime you put something on the table for them to have a chance to digest, they want to do that.
It's constantly trying to hone and improve your craft, both rules knowledge, mechanics understanding.
I like to watch a lot of video in the off season. I usually go back and watch a lot of the fouls that I called because I like to see my mechanics, because for me, I'm a big mechanics guy, and I always want to be as perfect as I can be with mechanics.
We're able to teach officials what is being taught on the playing field.
I coach receivers for a long time in this league. As simple as if my outside foot is up or if my inside foot is up in terms of alignment, we'll give you a great example where that receiver's running a route. You look at quarterbacks down inside the red zone, how they open up, where their shoulders pointed to. Within 3 seconds, the ball will be thrown to that side of the football field. So it gives our back judges, it gives our side judges a chance to understand pre-snap or quicker where that ball is going so they can have a better understanding of what to look for.
Then we'll start to attend team training camps in July and August. That's a fantastic benefit for us to be in those teams.
Just like with the clubs, there really is no off-season.
We try to spend as much time as possible in the course of the off-season with our officials to make sure when the season starts, they're ready to go.
They represent the best of the best, but how do they get there? How does someone become an NFL official?
Officials exist at all levels of the game, little leagues, middle schools, junior highs, high school environments. Just like players start there, that's where officials start. If we want to get involved with officiating, you got to start local, and then you grow from there.
Every city or every area has an association or a unit, and if I wanted to start officiating, I would just Google local officiating in my area, and there'd be a phone number, and I would call the phone number, and I would show up in a meeting. Generally, there's weekly meetings at the high school level, and that's where you're being trained for the first time to be an official.
There are fundamental and basic mechanics that every official ought to have and learn to develop early on. And then there are certainly more advanced mechanics that as every official elevates and goes up the ladder, he ends up having to learn and apply those.
Snaps. You want to get as many snaps as you can, because the more experience you have under your belt in watching plays, whether they're on the field or in video, the better you're going to be able to respond to those plays when they happen to you.
When I retired, I was always looking for that locker room feeling that I once got when I was a player, and I was missing that. When I got into officiating, it was very, very similar. Having a group of guys that have your back and that you all have the same goal and you're trying to get the same thing accomplished.
One of the real problems we've now got across the country at every level, not just of football, but every level of sport, is you don't have the numbers of people who really want to get into officiating. Part of our effort is to encourage participation in the game. As officials, we spend a lot of effort trying to develop talent. We scout college officials just like the clubs are scouting college players.
We look for professional presence in terms of how they present themselves, how they make calls, their mechanics on the football field.
And it takes a number of years for them to just understand the nuances of officiating.
So when you're going through that process, you don't know if people are out there. So when you go out there and work, you need to work that game like it's the state championship. So at every level, when I would go to a high school or pee-wee game, I would work that game like it was the state championship. I still take that in consideration today when I'm working the National Football League game, whether it's a preseason, regular season, or postseason game, I'm working it like the Super Bowl.
We don't want to see eyes wandering, because if their eyes are wandering at the college level, then they're going to wander at the NFL level.
A major difference that I saw when I entered the league was just the speed at which these players are playing this game. Maybe there's one player on a college team that's going to enter the NFL. You've got a collection of the most remarkable athletes in the world. At the time that I was coming up the ranks, the Arena Football League existed. The NFL, to a degree, used the Arena Football League as a training ground for officials. Things happen so quick. You make more decisions in an arena football game than you ever do on a big field. And then NFL Europe existed. So the league would send officials over to Europe, and we would stay there for a week and work games on either weekend and then come back. And that was a tremendous opportunity to be in the NFL system, learn the NFL rules, and be trained by NFL people.
We have about 60 officials in the college environment that are a part of the Mackey Development Program.
Wayne Mackey was an unbelievable headlinesman for a league for about 15 years. Wayne Mackey passed 2 years ago, and we named his program after Wayne.
That's the elite of the college group that we're looking at. That's the group we end up making assignments to some of the all-star games like the Senior Bowl or the East-West Shrine. Then we'll sit down with those game officials and review those with them, just like we do week to week with our NFL game officials.
You're talking about a progression of maybe 10 to 12 years before we have opportunity to get to the National Football League.
We're looking for immediate starters. We don't have a bench. They've got to assume their responsibility on their crew from day one, and they've got to be able to perform.
As new officials come into the league, I think they're better prepared now than maybe they were 10, 20, 30 years ago.
In any given year, we end up hiring probably on average 4 to 5 game officials. Some years it's less. Some years, like last year, it may be 10 to 12.
That is definitely the favorite part of my job, is calling up an official from the Mackey program. The excitement in their voice, thrill for their family, the excitement for us to take on that official to help in the success of that professional is rewarding.
Rules and rule enforcement, by very definition, are finite and rigid, but the game and the officials exist in an ever-evolving world. So what does the future look like for a profession that relies on standards and consistency?
The game is going to continue to evolve, and it's probably going to evolve at a much faster pace than what it did for really many decades. Our task is to keep up with that change.
50 years from now, I hope that we're still able to officiate on the field. I hope this game does not change into a video game or a game of touch, but obviously you're going to have changes. Chips and footballs could be totally different. You know, you look at the yard markers. We have a chain crew. You may not have a chain crew 10 years from now. There's things, a proof of concept that we are doing from our officiating standpoint. You may see the cameras on hats during the course of preseason.
I do believe that the future of football is in really, really good hands because a lot of data and analytics go into our game officials, go into practice on a weekly basis.
These are the analytics devices that tracks our movement. We clip these onto our shirt so they can kind of track our, how fast I'm running.
With video efficiency, with the use of AI, officiating will become even more streamlined and more clear.
Chips that we can't even think of now that will help know where the ball was in a specific instance or where the player was, where were his feet. Anything that helps us get it right, anything that helps us stay off SportsCenter and having affected a game, we're welcoming of. Player safety is a high priority for everybody involved at all levels of football. So I'd also imagine that there'll be increased player safety rules and ways to help protect players.
64. I am a female, and I just so happen to be an NFL football official.
It's important for young girls to see that, hey, one day I could possibly be an NFL official as a female. We're looking to have our first female referee at some point in time.
From a diversity standpoint, 2 to 3 times a year, we have an all-black crew.
That diverse group helps grow our game.
Making sure that everybody's included. It makes sense for our crew, it makes sense for our building, and it makes sense for America.
You guys be on your best behavior, all right?
I'm supposed to see that to you.
I don't get nervous, I get prepared. If you understand your role and you understand what your job is supposed to be, and you make the commitment to get prepared for it, it's really just a process of executing that.
When I was a player, I missed so many moments because I didn't really enjoy the process and everything because I think I was too young to really understand the magnitude of what I was doing. Now I do because I'm a little older and a little more mature. I get it. So I don't want to miss anything.
Through the 50 years I've been in officiating, to see the game through that lens, I've seen a lot of great games, a lot of great players, and I work with a lot of great officials. It's very humbling.
I think it's important for people to understand that our game officials are really dedicated to the sport of officiating. I never realized how hard they work, how dedicated they are, how really good they are at their craft. For me, I want to ensure that professional football is the most competitive sport and the greatest sport in the world.
Our fans, our league, our coaches, our players, they deserve to have it right.
We're the guardians of the game. Without us, there is no game. It's just a practice. We want to have a fair and balanced game that the fans can enjoy and understand that everything that's being done is for the greater good of the game. When you start officiating, you'll find out that your best friends on this planet will be other officials.
My best friends in my life are scattered across the country.
How's the officiating going?
It's been great.
Yeah, where are you working this year?
Conference USA, Pac-12, and Southland.
Dude, you're working all three? Crushing life.
Yeah.
Good job. Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you.
When you're in this brotherhood together, you all get it. We take a tremendous amount of pride in what we do. We want to be the best. At the end of the day, the individual accolades for officials will come, but the bigger goal is to create a crew environment by which we officiate and put a product on the field that is at a high level and an elite level as the players are.